A monk was meditating when he discovered something terrifying. He saw a massive tidal wave gradually surging up toward Mount Everest in the distance. The monk never imagined that the world's highest mountain could actually be submerged one day. Facing this incredibly hopeless scene, the monk showed no fear at all. Instead, he faced the terrifying wave head-on and rang the warning bell to alert people that disaster was coming. Meanwhile, a completely unaware family was getting ready to enjoy a cozy breakfast. Suddenly the house started shaking violently, and the stepfather quickly took his two stepsons and wife under the table. They thought it was just a regular earthquake, but then his wife's ex-husband Jack suddenly burst in. Jack didn't explain much and just shouted for them to follow him and leave immediately. By the time they got in the car, their house had already turned into ruins. They immediately sped away while the ground behind them kept collapsing, and the cracked earth started moving up and down like waves. Suddenly, they saw an elderly couple in front of them, driving slowly and blocking their path. Jack had no choice but to drive onto the grass median, then watched the old couple's car crash into the rising roadway. They kept racing forward but got covered in sewage that sprayed out from the storm drains. The stepfather suggested getting on the highway, but the scene ahead terrified everyone as cement trucks fell from the overpass. The ground cracked open with gaps dozens of meters wide, and Jack frantically turned the steering wheel, dancing on the edge of life and death as they barely squeezed off the bridge. But then a collapsed building blocked their path ahead. Under the family's terrified gaze, Jack boldly drove straight toward the building. In the brief moment before the building completely collapsed, they successfully burst through. After nearly losing their lives, they finally made it to the airport, only to find that the pilot they had contacted was already dead. Fortunately, the stepfather had taken pilot training before, and facing this critical moment, Jack had no choice but to put his last hope in forcing the stepfather into the cockpit. Just as they started the plane, the runway behind them began collapsing, but they managed to take off at the last second and temporarily escape the danger. But the other people without planes weren't so lucky.